Rosa. I am CEO and founder of E3inspire. As you know, I always like to bring a lot of motivational and high energy to all of my videos. I also wanted to start doing some things a little bit different. I am starting to bring on some guest speakers. I think it's very important to bring on other perspectives. I have with me an amazing guest today, Jacy Did I say that right?
You did.
Perfect. Jacy is the owner of Building Balance LLC. She is an activational speaker. What I mean by that is she allows people to not only just listen to her, but do things that are going to be actionable. And as you all know, that's what I am about. We have complimentary services that we do. So, for example, everybody knows the things that I do and what I am about, which is empowerment, education, engaging, and what Jacy brings to the table. She is not only an incredible professional speaker, she is also a certified coach and project manager. She is training in communication leadership, and that is super critical because if you are going to do anything in this world that is going to do community outreach, you have to learn how to communicate properly. And so I brought her on today because I wanted to speak about a little bit about our sharing and our similar pasts and how we both were able to turn that around into something positive and something that we can bring forth changing factors in today's society. So as everybody knows, I have experience in domestic violence, family, friends, co-workers, and as traumatic as that experience is as an adult, I brought her on because I want her to share her perspective as she dealt with it as a child and how that's affected her. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that over to you, Jacy. Again, welcome, and let you speak a little bit about that.
Thank you for the warm introduction, Brandie. I appreciate that. So I did grow up with domestic violence, and I didn't actually know about it until I was in my mid-20s. I didn't realize that anything was different than anyone else's family. And this is a trap that a lot of victims of violence fall into, is they just don't know that it could be another way. Mm. Even after I realized I had grown up in violence, I had a lot of problems dealing with it. I lived in a very negative world, and I didn't know that there was another way to live until my early 30s, when through the help of an amazing counselor, my wonderful friends, and an outstanding intuitive yoga instructor, I flipped a switch and was able to move past the victimhood of violence into surviving, and then past surviving into thriving.
Wow. So you didn't realize that until your adulthood, 30s you said, right?
30s was when I got past, to be honest, hating myself, wow. Which is one of the number one things that happens with victims of abuse, is they take responsibility for themselves, they blame themselves, and it turns into this deep, intensive negativity without realizing there's another way to live, that it doesn't have to be that way.
So that's an interesting perspective. The reason why that is so critical and important is because the work I do is around trauma-informed care and bringing that perspective into the workplace and how domestic violence affects employees. And this is just another important perspective, because if she as an employee is not productive in her work environment because of all these negative emotions, how can organizations support her? What things could they put into place so that she could reach out and start understanding and start to move past all of those things? And so it's very interesting to hear the story, and I thank you for that, because many people think, well, if they weren't personally affected by the violence, by physicality as an adult, that there's not an issue. But they forget there are children that are in the room, and those children grow up, and those children become your coworker, and how do they interact with each other as employee to employee. That turns me over into another point, which is something that I strongly believe in, and that is an emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is extremely important for one reason. It not only helps you learn about yourself and who you are and how to control your emotions, instead of quickly reacting to somebody on what they've done or you think they've done to you. It's how do you turn that around and respond to that situation and realize sometimes it's not always about you. It could be something they are going through. So it's about learning about yourself emotionally as well as the other person, right?
Yes.
And something that she brings to the table, and I watched her do this amazing speaking event this morning, a few hours ago, and it was incredible because she spoke and touched base on things such as core values and how to promote personal community leadership and identifying your own core values as well as others. So again, those two worlds go together, and I'm going to let her talk about some of those highlighted points from this morning speaking event so that she can share that with everyone here.
Thank you again. So I am a huge proponent that self-awareness and awareness of others is what helps bring about real change in the world. So there's emotional intelligence, which is knowing yourself and understanding yourself, and then developing an external awareness of what's happening with other people and choosing not only how you react, but understanding how someone else might react. With the talk I did this morning, it was about core values, and in the same way, it was about identifying one's own core values and the core values of the people around you. People may have the same core values, but they express them or live them differently. For example, a very common one is fairness. For some people, fairness means everyone treated exactly the same.
Okay.
And for others, fairness means everyone treated according to their unique situation.
Interesting. Yeah, expand on that.
So if you have two people who have the same value of fairness, but honestly they express it in different ways, there's a potential for conflict. They might butt heads there. And instead of waiting for that to percolate into something that might be contentious, what you do is bring people together, have them share what their values mean with each other, and see the strengths in everything.
Wow.
There is a strength in everyone being treated the same way, and a time and place where consistency can be very important. There's also a strength in accommodating people and equity and giving people what they need or what's most helpful.
Okay. So that flows into kind of in psychology terms, nature versus nurture, right? And that means, your environment. Are you a product of your environment? Or are you a product of maybe how you were raised? And between the way she was raised that had to endure domestic violence as a child versus someone that didn't have to endure it as a child, and how do we work together, and what perspectives are we bringing to the table when we think fairness, and how we may respond to each other, because she may feel as though she's treated unfairly in a situation when I'm genuinely looking at it like I thought it was fair. So I love that. I love that bringing, when there's conflict on the table, how do you resolve that? And taking a step back, right?
Yeah.
And understanding that. That's very powerful.
Yeah.
So that being said, I want to also, as we have these conversations, I always like to turn things around. And everybody knows me as the coined phrase, turning pain into production. And that is something that I strive for every single day. And I promote that and try to inspire all of you, hence E3inspire. I try to inspire the world around me to not worry about all the negativity that has happened to you, and not letting that dictate who you are today. And how do you take all that pain and that negative energy and flip it around and turn it into something productive, not just for yourself, but for those that you affect around you. Because that's so important, because the energy that you have internally radiates. Like the sun radiates heat, energy radiates off of you, be it good, be it bad. And I think Jacy, she exudes that. She definitely took her pain as from a child and doesn't use that as an excuse. I mean, she's turned that into something that she's doing great things in the community, and I love that. And I love how she incorporated yoga. That's one thing that I like to give that example. There's some other things I often talk about. Meditation. You could do meditation. You could do journaling, and I'm not sure if you've done. You do journaling, so see, it's something else we share. I love that. Journaling isn't for someone else. That's for you. And a lot of times, and you can talk to this. I don't know if you know of anyone, but I certainly do know of how people have started journaling for themselves, and those have turned into books.
Yes.
Sometimes bestseller books.
Yes.
So you start something that you didn't mean to happen, and next thing you know, this kind of snowball effect happens. And I believe strongly in the world of law of attraction, and I think we share that too. So this is why it's such a dynamic conversation. We oftentimes, when we meet, just go on and on for hours because we have this positive energy.
Easy.
Yes, it's so easy. We come up with ideas, and this idea spun off into another idea, and you just grow. You're ever changing, you're ever promoting each other.
And there's something else that I think we both share, which is championing.
Yes.
Empowerment and championing. It's in the name of your business.
Mm-hmm.
One of the huge transitions for me was taking all the pain and struggle that I was in, and when I started moving past it, I wanted so desperately to help other people that were still stuck there.
Yes.
The idea of helping people see that they have choices, that they have options, and that there are organizations and people that want to help them move from where they are and get somewhere safe.
Yes.
So important.
That is, and it's something that is very key, because when you start to grow yourself, there's a lot of things you don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and so you have to reach out. You have to reach out. Other people will believe in you. They will connect you to the people that you need to speak with. They will connect you to the right information. And whether that's, I'm not saying everybody needs to be a public speaker or everybody needs to start their own business, but whatever it is you do, you need to go in with it with an open mind, an open heart. And if you do happen to start your own company, you have to understand what you're worth, right? I think too many times people, and I'll let you speak on this too, but in my personal opinion, they do not charge what they're worth. And that's important, because I'll let Jacy address this, but if you don't know what you're worth and you don't believe in what you're worth, how do you expect somebody else to believe and purchase what it is you're worth? So I'll let you share your opinion on that.
Yeah, as a business owner, that was definitely a learning curve for me. I am a very caregiving person, very compassionate. I actually trained in massage therapy as well. And a lot of people in these caregiving, body working, and healthcare fields really just want to help people. We just want to make the world a better place. We so do. And it's not about the money until it is.
Until you have to pay the bills.
Until you have to pay the bills. That's
Yes.
exactly it. So realizing that I couldn't charge people enough money to live on until I honestly believed that I was worth enough money to live on.
Interesting.
And one of the ways I did that was I set a price for my services, and I practiced saying them in the mirror out loud to myself until it sounded real.
I want to stop you there. That is an incredible technique. So I'm all about incorporating techniques into things that you do every day. And that is kind of, what's the word that Oprah always says, the aha moment? I mean, really, when it becomes perfect, that you believe it yourself by looking in the mirror, that's what comes across to people. I love that. I love that.
And in my personal experience, saying things to myself in the mirror is the hardest thing to do, because you know when you're lying to yourself, and you can see it when you're looking in the mirror. So to be able to look in the mirror and say something, personally, I need to be really on board with it, or I can't even pretend that it's happening.
That's amazing. That's very critical, because I know when I first started speaking, there was something that I used to say about, believing in yourself and never giving up. And I caught myself at one of my, first or second speaking engagements where I got very emotional, and I would practice it. But when I got to that point about never giving up and believing in yourself, I would cry. And I would catch the tears coming, and I thought, why is this so hard to get past it? And here's the reason that I found out. I wasn't believing it. I actually felt in my heart, maybe I should give up. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Right. So it was kind of that, honestly, physiological trigger to me. And then when I realized, how can I go out and speak to people about never giving up? And yet I was on the verge of giving up. How can I do that? So I agree. I think that's amazing. And I think off camera, we spoke a little bit. It's funny how she referenced the massage background, because she said, would you go and pay for a $25 massage somewhere, you would instantly probably think, ooh, that's probably not a legitimate.
It's a little shady.
It's a little shady, right? But you would be quick to spend, $60, $70 to go for a 1 hour massage, because that seems legit.
Right.
So in your own personal brand and company, whatever product or service that you're doing, you have to look at it like, well, if I only say I'm going to, just because I'm getting started, let me just charge a minimal fee, $5, $10, $100, whatever that is that person going to say, I don't know that this might be shady, or they're not good enough, so I'm going to go with a more reputable priced company.
Right. So what's the price for your business and your service that is that $60 or $70 massage?
Absolutely. I think that is super important and critical, and that's something I want to share with everybody here, and I really want you to sit back. I always give action items for everyone to do on my videos, and that is something I would like you to sit down and just kind of quietly take a notebook and think about these things, like, what would I be worth? What is it that means the most to me and that I fully believe in? And just kind of brainstorm, really, right? There's no right or wrong answer, right? There's nothing.
There's not.
And you can change that.
You can. And if you don't know what you're worth, if you don't know what your services are, we'll just keep using massage as an example.
Mm-hmm.
I know people who struggle staying in business because they only wanted to charge $45 an hour. If you're charging something and no one is paying it, then chances are it's too low or too high. And chances are, if you're coming from a background similar to mine, it's too low. You're probably not charging too much to start off with.
Sure.
So go look at other businesses in the field. Go look at other businesses in the country. Find out what other people are charging. And if you see someone that charges a dollar amount and you say, oh, I could never, then try it.
Yeah.
If it makes your heart drop a little bit, then try it. Because it might be what you're worth and you're just too scared to admit it.
And sometimes that's a good point. Oftentimes we are our own worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Fair? And that's something I like to kind of put on the table for everybody, and that's what these video sessions, empowerment sessions are all about, and that is to teach you about yourself, bring the best of you out into the world, right? Because if you keep it all inside, that's not benefiting the world around you. You have to learn how to become unstuck and learn how to move forward and learn, if you're going to start businesses, what you're worth and how to be successful at those things, right? And that's so important in today's society when the world around us is going to be judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something that I want to share because since we're our own worst enemy, right? If we hear something negative in the world that somebody says, oh, that's a bad idea or that's not good enough, we internalize that. Fair? I know I did.
Very quickly.
Yes. And
faster than anything.
And I'm sure you share that. You probably did the same thing, right? And that's okay. You're not going to please everybody. Your business or who you are as a person, as you grow and learn, again, not even if you're starting your own business, if it's just you becoming more personally aware and personal improvement and development, that's okay if other people around you don't like what you're doing or how you're doing it. As long as you do it with good intentions, with a great heart, you can never go wrong. You never can, right? Always keep it positive.
And to build on that, what you have inside of you is gorgeous and beautiful and amazing.
I love that.
I guarantee you that there are things inside of you that everyone else sees that you don't even know are there. So please be yourselves as deeply and strongly and authentically as we can. Let out your compassion, your generosity. This isn't just for business owners, this is for everyone. This is how you engage with your family, with people in your communities, with your colleagues and coworkers, with that neighbor kid down the street that's always yelling when they run by and you kind of want to tell them to shush, but at the same time, they're just being a kid.
Yes.
Let that part of you out that's very, very deeply and earnestly you, and express it, because what you have to share in this world is important.
Now do you guys see why we connect so well? Jacy is amazing. Her brand says it all. Building balance. That's exactly what she's about, and that's what I try to connect with at every level with everybody I meet. Me personally, I try to create balance. So I'm a Libra. That's my sign, and of course that's balance right there. And I can tell when something's off. I feel it. It's energy level where I can tell when I'm going in this negative space, and I have to figure out how to kind of boost that back up. And making sure I'm surrounded by people that are like-minded. I've spoke about that in my previous videos about paying attention to the people that are surrounding you, and because they're going to bring the best out of you. Another thing that I want to actually bring about is competition. In today's society, everything is about competition.
Ugh.
We learn it in school. We learn it as babies, whether we know it or not.
Yes.
Our parents, interject this competition. Oh, my baby smiled at, 3 weeks old, or my baby learned to walk at 9 months old, or my baby learned, there's this constant competition, right? And then it just snowballs into grades in school, sports. Who's the MVP of the football team or captain of the cheerleading squad.
And what comes from that is this internalized voice that just says not enough.
Yes.
That is one of the places that not enough comes from. And not enough to this day haunts me. It haunts me when I close my eyes, and it's a constant battle against not enough.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you are all enough. You are all enough the way you are. And, what Brandie is building into is this competition isn't necessary, that we're all enough in different ways. We complement each other.
Yes, absolutely. And that is something that I want to talk about, the world of abundance, right? I know some of you probably initially started watching this, and as I read her credentials and what she does as a company, thought, well, that's strange. Isn't that some of the things overlapping what you do? And why in the world would you bring somebody on that, seemingly has some kind of cross-pollinated services, right? And that's because I believe strongly about collaboration. There is so much abundance in this world. There is enough for everybody. So collaboration is key.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people in this world, organizations that need our services. There's only one of me. I can only reach so many people, and I think that's something that I would love Jacy to give her opinion on.
There is more work in the world than we could all possibly do. One of the areas that Brandie and I overlap is working with organizations to build policy around and support survivors of domestic violence, supporting survivors of domestic violence. I am sad to say that there is more work than the two of us and everyone else in this field could possibly do in our lifetimes. I would love to be out of business tomorrow there, but it's not going to happen. So bringing more people in to support more organizations, to support more survivors, to support more people, to help educate a bigger population, there is always room for more. There are billions of people in this world.
And that doesn't mean, that's something, and whether you're, again, starting, or we're not telling you have to run out, right, and start doing what we're doing. It is hard. It's not an easy task, but, we're up for the challenge, right? But what she said earlier about being enough and spreading that, and, putting out knowing that there's abundance in this world, and knowing that you can do what you need to do, and you're going to attract those services and people and things around you, and open your mind to collaboration in everything you do. Just being very positive about that. It's something, like I said, there's not enough of us to do what we do in the world, and I think the more we collaborate and find those around us that can help us grow, and as well as we offer our services to help them grow, it's a win-win. Right?
And focusing too on, even though our businesses may overlap a little, you have huge strengths with policy and process. Mm-hmm. You have huge background with human resources. You have experience from being in the workplace, what the impacts are, and how to hit that from a very direct place. Mm-hmm. I have experience that's more on training and development, educating people on new processes and policies. So even though we're doing things that are similar, they complement each other, and it's better to work together to see where we can accomplish more than to hide away every company we've ever worked with and not let anyone else know about them because we want to make sure we get every single job.
Absolutely, and that brings a good point, because since this is an issue, and for example, if you have a huge company with thousands of employees, again, if there's one or two people, you need to bring on collaboration. It's almost like I pair that up with building a house or building a building, right? It's not just one contractor, right? They hire subcontractors. One person isn't the electrician, the plumber, and all of that. They subcontract that out, and that's the same thing in our line of work. There's times that I have a multi-locational business, and maybe I'm tied up doing the policy procedure, and yes, I can do the training side, but how much more effective it can be if I bring along Jacy to say, well, I'm doing this piece of it, she's doing that piece of it, and vice versa, things like that.
Yeah, and thinking of how to serve your clients best. What will make the biggest impact for them that will have them look positively on you? If you do it all yourself and you do it pretty well, that's good. If you do some of it yourself and bring in one or two other people to do what all three of you excel at, and you knock that company's socks off,
yes,
in my eyes, that is more important than just looking good or just having that feather in the cap. Serve your clients by referring them to the people that can serve them best, and they will respect you for it. They will trust you when they see that you're willing to bring in someone else to give them the very best that they can have.
Well said. That is perfectly said. I couldn't agree with that more. So I want to wrap up this session and by thanking Jacy. She's an incredible person, and there'll be further collaboration, of course. And you'll probably see her on more video sessions, as well as I'll be launching a podcast. So you'll be hearing her and things like that, because we we'll collaborate well. I do want to share her website again, and the name of her company, so that in case there's something that you don't see from my side or want to learn more about touching points that we said today, you can certainly reach out to her organization and have one-on-one sessions or learn more about what she does in a greater depth. So again, the name of Jacy's company is Building Balance LLC, and her website is www.building-balances.com, correct?
It's www.building-balance
singular. Thank you. See, I love that correction. Thank you for that. So is there anything more that you would like to add, Jacy, as we close out?
No, I just would love to thank you for having this conversation today. I really appreciate it, and it has been a joy.
Thank you so much. And until next time, everybody, stay tuned. This is Brandie signing out. As always, love be.